These are excerpts from a long poem titled Private Life. The mysteries are being here, knowing the edge is something sharp and unforgiving. It can easily be overlooked for a wood bench along the water or for a close encounter at the bar. But one cannot predict the different faces. We return to our own rooms, with our own furniture, with our own constellated panes. Love is a failed investigation. One has their own room, their own window, and their own houseplants. One is assigned to this space and takes it very seriously, diligently watering their plants and rotating them in the sunlight. In another window, in another room from across the street, another someone is sitting at their desk, intently staring in the direction of your window, of your room, of your intimate dressings with plants. Fear of ghosts. Fear of ghosts, fear of being seen, fear of looking, fear of an empty window, of exploitation, of losing, of walking alone for fear of evaporation, of open spaces, of reflective surfaces and empty movie rooms, of audiences for fear of screaming, of discrepancies for fear of narrative, of inexplicable margins between mind and tongue, fear of touching too soon, of impact, of overextended limbs and breath reactivity, of depth, of running the whole thing over with your car, fear of acute arrows, of rocket headaches, of strings, of weather patterns, of abandonment, of erasure, of crossing the street. It is hard to know where our passages lie in the larger narrative. Theory tells us that to speak is to exist absolutely for the other. This means our movements take precedence over a particular air, water, food, or mosquito. We are constructing whole cities when we speak. We are blueprints of our own capacity to name things. We are our own measurements of existence. In the more private sense, we are inviting others to look in. Our words granting entrance to a sovereign ecosystem. There we are stitching each other together with an internal language of experience, neither one noticing when the curtain fell. Had the streetlight blazed through the frosted window, dispensing little golden fingers across our matted backs. Death is not an implosion of 37 trillion units like a fatal line of dominoes. Our heart, for instance, can go on without us, implanting itself in a foreign casing and plummeting on. A person wakes from surgery with a changed appetite, a new favorite color or taste. You lose your lover to the night before, you close the gate behind you, you coast over a country of private campfires, you arrive understudied in a land of crosses. Here you must crunch time with anxious hands of motors. You must learn to read the barbed wire fencing. Notice how the birds seem manic. The sky is stocked with chimney smoke. Your boots are heavy with mud. There is a corridor around every corner. You make lists to pass the time. You stick your tongue in everything. Outside, it is shooting pellets of rain. Adaptations in love. We become casualties of each other's solitudes, our dreams aglow with the fears and symbols of another's patchwork mural, our mornings spent in slow abstraction. To love someone can be as tragic as mistaking an internal string for a heart's tentacle. I asked the stranger with transient hands to build me a new architecture of light. I said, I have been silent for a while now. I have tasted the darker earths of erosion. My tongue has been a narrow graveyard the birds skip across. The history of our language has been a history of evaporation. When I speak, stones recede into more broken waters. You mistake a star for a blinking plane, and the clouds prove incomprehensible in their speed tonight. How do I offer you more than half-formed theories on the private lives of birds, or find words honest enough to cut through the net nerve silence? How do I write above the clouds today when our dreams can only idle in a world that precedes language? After the aimless wandering through a landscape inching with machinery, the same few songs pouring out the windows, you were perched over the hood of the car, lighting your last cigarette with bloody fingers. Fear of transplanting. To think like a plant means learning how to lose quietly, to bear new green, to poke through every man-made hole, to outsize your container in a stationary life. Just as the housing changes, so do the hands that carry us. What remains the same as a skyward course? But do plants dispose of their ghosts, exchanging their bodies for starlight as we do in our poems? And will every metaphor unfold new possibilities? Or might instead the words begin to point inward, each poet losing quietly to their own language? Thank you.